Morocco. We first are going to talk about an overview of the country, the name and the location of it, its size and population, geographical features and influences trade, its traded practices, the main imports and exports, countries with those trades, GDP and GNP, how has international trade affected the society, what are the advantages and disadvantages of the country, and what effects has the international trade had on the economy. The team members are Gabriela Viloria Alvis, Ronier Garcia, and David Prado.
Morocco. The geography of Morocco spans from the Atlantic Ocean to mountainous areas and to the Sahara Desert. Morocco is a northern African country, bordering the North Atlantic Ocean and Mediterranean Sea. Morocco has a coast by the Atlantic Ocean that reaches past to the Strait of Gibraltar into the Mediterranean Sea. It is bordered by Spain to the north, its main trading partner, Algeria to the east, and Western Sahara to the south, since Morocco controls more of Western Sahara. As to its surface is 712,550 square kilometers, and its population is 32,878,400 according to the census 2013. Its geographical features and influence of trade. Relief. There is mountainous stretch over the region bordering the Mediterranean from the northwest to the northeast. The Atlas Mountains run down to the bottom of the country from the northwest to the southwest. Climate. The climate is Mediterranean along the coast and continental instead throughout the years. It varies between 12 and 30 Celsius in January and February, and the remaining months on temperatures are around 25 Celsius. In the mountains are more abundant rainfall and lower temperatures. In the Sahara Desert, the climate is very arid. Coast. Morocco has the largest coast of the African continent, which has 500 kilometers of coastline on the Mediterranean, 3,000 kilometers on the Atlantic Ocean. Over 95% of Moroccan imports get into the country by sea.
Morocco's trending practices. The main exports of Morocco are insulated cable with an amount of 2.7 billions of dollars, cars in the second place with 1.75 billions of dollars, mixed minerals or chemical fertilizers with 1.6 billions of dollars, and in the last place petroleum refining and phosphoric acid with 1.5 billions of dollars. If we're going to talk about the imports, we need to know that the most important item that Morocco's import is the petroleum refining with an amount of 4.7 billions of dollars, crude oil with an amount of 3.8 billions of dollars, petroleum cars and with an amount of 4.5 billions of dollars if we sum the all last three items. It is important to note that what Morocco does trade with the agriculture, phosphate, and tourism. Sales and fish are important as well, and the industry and mining contribute about 1/3 of the annual GDP. Morocco is the world's third largest producer of phosphates after the United States and China, and the price fluctuation of phosphates on the international market gradually influence Morocco's economy. Tourism and workers' remittance have played a critical role since independence. The production of textiles and clothing is part of a growing manufacturing sector that accounted for approximately 35% of total exports in 2002, employing 40% of the industrial workforce. The government wishes to increase textile and clothing exports from 1.2 billion to 3.2 billion of dollars. Morocco main partner countries. The economic system of the country presents several phases. It is characterized by a large opening towards the outside world. France remains the primary trade partner, supplier and customer of Morocco. France is also the primary creditor and foreign investor in Morocco. In the Arab world, Morocco has the second largest non-oil GDP behind Egypt, as known in 2005. Since the early 80s, Moroccan government has pursued an economy program toward accelerating real economic growth, with the support of the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, and the Paris Club of Creditors. The country's currency is the dirham. Dirham is now convertible for currency account transactions. Reform of the financial sector has been implemented and state enterprise are being privatized. The main destination of export from Morocco are to Spain, France, Brazil, Belgium, and Italy. The high cost of imports, especially petroleum imports, is a major problem. Morocco suffered both from unemployment with a rate of 9.6% in 2008 and a large external debt estimated around $20 billion, or half of the GDP rate in 2002. Imports are coming from Spain, France, the United States, China, and Arabia. Now, when we look to the GDP general information in Morocco, we found that the services sectors account for just over the half of the GDP and industry. Made up of mining, construction, and manufacturing is an additional quarter. The sectors who recorded the highest growth are the tourism, telecoms, and textile sectors. Morocco, however, still depends to an inordinate degree on agriculture. The sectors account for only 14% of the GDP, but employs 14 to 45% of the Moroccan population. With a semi-arid climate, it is difficult to assure that good rainfalls and Morocco's GDP varies depending on the weather. Fiscal prudence has allowed for consolidation with both the budget deficit and debt falling as percentage of GDP. Morocco is fairly stable economy with continuous growth over the past half century. The current GDP per capita grew 47% in the 60s, reaching a peak of growth of 274% in the 70s. However, this proved unsustainable and growth scaled back sharply to just 8.2% in the 80s and 8.9% in the 90s. Its GDP in 2014 was $110 billion, and the current growth rate is 5.5%. Nowadays, Moroccan GDP is ranked as the 60th in the world in 2014.
What effects has international trade had on the economy? 80.9% of its GDP comes from international trade. Therefore, Morocco is a country that depends on commerce for its economic growth and generation of wealth. From the 60s to our days, Moroccan economy has grown 274% with an annual average of 5.5%. Morocco is the 71st largest economy in the world and the 88th most complex economy according to the Economic Complexity Index. In 2013, Morocco exported $26.9 billion and imported $44.4 billion, resulting in a negative trade-off balance of $17.5 billion. This is known as trading balance. Trading this country is vital for its economy. Although it has a negative BOT index, it is known that Morocco has a developing economy and still has economic policies that put the nation in disadvantage to run with other more powerful nations due to the controls in the economy coming from the states and some taxes rates. How has international trade affected society? Due to the economic growth in recent years, Morocco has become a more modern society, adopting some Western attitudes in its population. In order to maintain this economic expansion, this is a lot to say, because Morocco is a Muslim country and is a very interesting case where you can be seen a Muslim modernity. Although we can ignore its other regions of social and political nature, Morocco has adopted many changes to be a modern country since 1999. As an example of these changes, Morocco has adopted a democratic system of government called parliamentary monarchy. Although it is an emerging democracy, it is heading towards an institution strengthened. And the king is a secular leader. Other fact that is remarkable is that Morocco women have several rights that, compared to other Muslim countries, put them in a very good situation in order to be independent and free. They have the rights to divorce their husbands, to child custody, to child support, and to own an inherited property. They can choose their husband and don't be obliged to marry any man, and father tuition until marriage does not longer exist. All these changes have generated a situation where economic growth is sustainable and have put the country in a modernity world. What are the advantage and disadvantage of the countries for international trade? The advantages, they might be many, but we are going to explain three of them. Natural resources that can be transformed in raw materials and basic staples to export to other more developed and industrial countries. We see that Morocco has a good part of its income of export in manufactured cars, and a very good sign that the economy is getting complex and the stability of the country as place of its investments. Natural coastline of more of 3,000.5 kilometer longs enable the country to have enough ports in the Atlantic and in the Mediterranean Sea, and also allows Morocco to have a fisher fleet and American fleet to be a leader in the region in these sectors. The second advantage, Morocco signed in 1996 an agreement of association with the European Union, which came into effect in 2000. This agreement, which lies within the scope of the Barcelona process, European Mediterranean Partnership, started in 1995 and envisages the progressive implementation of a free trade area planned for 2012. The taxes of imports and lowering the taxes of imports and exports. Disadvantage. As a developing economy, the country has joined as a joint system where government and private capital are invested in the economy. Therefore, the government has policy that puts the country in a less competitive place. Not enough import regulations that difficulties the investment in some areas of production, has low taxes in the import of some goods that forbids the country national industry to grow. Morocco has oil dependence. In order to have a development at industrial level, the country needs a constant supply of oil to do so, and it hasn't enough oil to sustain the national industry. Therefore, it has to import a lot of oil, becoming a great expense of the budget in the economy in the import area. Its competitiveness in basic manufactured goods, such as textiles, is hampered by low labor productivity and high wages. Although Morocco runs on a structural deficit, this is a typical offset by substantial services earning from tourism and largest remittances inflows from the diaspora, and the country normally runs a small current account of surplus. Well, goodbye. Thank you.